The smartest guys around are about to break it down like they've won the game a million times.
Well, actually, they didn't really win the game at all.
Got you, babe.
Survivor know it all. Survivor know it all.
Yes, that is right. The Survivor Know-It-Alls are back again after, Steven, can you believe it? Another blindside, David versus Goliath.
Oh my gosh. Another crazy episode, another big move. I guess, is that what we're calling it? I guess Gabby tried to make a big move. Christian sniffed it out, plays his idol, another correct idol play, a last minute save. How many times has Christian been saved by advantages this season so far? Three times. He's dodging bull. He's like Neo in the Matrix.
Yeah, 3 times. So what was the
Davie played his idol on Christian once.
Yeah, and then the idol nullifier.
Then the Knicks steal a vote. Christian was the other target there, I believe.
Yeah,
and then this tonight. Which so crazy tribal council. Another great episode of Survivor. A lot to talk about. But first, why don't you tell us what we got going on this week?
Well, Steven, thank you for that supernatural segue. But we got a lot going on here tonight. We'll take your questions, #RJP, as we talk about another exciting episode of Survivor David versus Goliath. Of course, I'll talk to Gabby tomorrow morning and get her take on everything. And I'm sure she will have a lot to say. Be on the lookout for that. And then Tyson is going to join me for the recap this week. And I know everybody's counting down to our feedback show with Bryce Isaiah is going to be joining me for our feedback show coming up on Friday. Steven, how are you doing tonight? You okay? You holding up after all this excitement?
I am. I was a big Gabby stan. I was very sad to see her go. I really predicted that she would be losing in the finals, not losing quite at this point. So I was really surprised and sad to see her go. I think Tyson's an interesting person to talk to about this because Gabby's in this position where she's got her number one ally who's getting all the credit for their big moves. She can't possibly go to the end with this guy. And, you look back at someone like Gervais, similar role with Tyson. It's like, if Gervais is sitting there at the final 8 and he's like, he's got to be, maybe he should have made a move like Gabby made a move today.
Yeah. So Steven, last week on the podcast, you talked about, you were most high on Gabby for the move at last week's tribal council. Do you stand by that? And then was it a bad move this week to target Christian, or did she get unlucky tonight?
Well, I mean, it doesn't look like her position in the game was hurt. I guess it seemed more like Christian's position in the game was hurt by the targeting of Carl than that Gabby's position was hurt, right? If anything, it seemed Gabby had.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you on both counts. That I felt like that coming out of last week, I felt like that after further analysis, I felt very good about what Gabby did and really bad about what Christian did. Ultimately, everybody's decided it's time to vote out Christian tonight, which was sort of like, okay, well, we did have the correct analysis, but that he was able to play the hidden immunity idol.
Yeah, I mean, and it still seems like I'm high on this move for Gabby. I actually think this is the right choice for her.
Oof.
Oof.
Or go ahead.
Oof. Okay. So even though it doesn't work out for her, like Christian plays the immunity idol, she does have to vote him out at some point, right? If she's going to win the game, she's not going to win the game sitting next to Christian. You've got because of the fire making challenge. This is the final 8. She only has 4 chances to vote him out. Christian's got an idol in his pocket, in his pants. So she really only has 3 chances to vote him out. I think she's got to take the shot she's got. Hope everyone is in it together, and she trusted the wrong guy, right? With Davie.
I don't know. I didn't like this move for Gabby tonight to go after Christian. I just feel like it's too early. I mean, I want to, when I get a chance to talk to her tomorrow, I'd love to know was going to be the move after this, because I really felt like that after last week's vote, it seemed like that they put a coalition together. Okay, they had 5. Then the next logical moves was going to be to go after the Nicks and Davies and Angelinas of the world. But then by the time the dust settled, we saw, Angelina, Nick, and Mike White talking about how they were going to the Final Four with Davie. So I don't really know where Mike White was in all of this. And then if you lose Christian, I don't know necessarily who the next vote was going to be. So I definitely agree that she had an unenviable position, Gabby did, to have to, pry Christian away from his idol. But to get him out in this round, I just don't know where her majority votes were coming from on the next couple of rounds of play.
But it seems like, it feels like every like one of the themes of this season is that almost every episode where we're teased with like, oh, this is the new group going forward, this is the new coalition, and then by the next episode that coalition is completely dissolved and they've all turned on each other. It seems like in this game at this point there are enough threats who are going to be next once Christian is gone. I mean, Davie says once Christian goes, I'm going to be the next threat. Alison is this long-standing threat. Angelina has gotten a lot of votes. So I don't know that Gabby, just by voting out Christian, is suddenly going to be the next obvious vote for everybody. And I don't know. I think you got to make the move. Is this the perfect time? Obviously not. It didn't work, right? But I think better to make a move slightly too soon than miss your chance. But miss your chance when you had it. And the other thing is, Christian's, in addition to all of the other things he's got going for him, the idol in his pocket, all these people who are telling him what's really happening, he's doing well in the immunity challenges. He's doing well in these challenges. He came in third in this endurance challenge. He obviously won a previous endurance challenge. We know he's great at puzzles. And a lot of these big athletic people have been eliminated from the game. So he's competitive in any challenge. I mean, how frustrating would it be to see him win 2 challenges, play his idol? You're at the fire making.
But I feel like that's a risk that is okay to take. I mean, that if you don't get him out tonight, I do think that there was going to be, considering that people had voted for him, so many tribal councils, I think that there were going to be other opportunities where he was going to have to play that idol down the road. And I feel like that she had the opportunity, she had a group, and she could have rode those numbers down a little bit. It was only the final 8 tonight. So I feel like that I just don't see what the path was going to be, even if they got Christian out, who was somebody who was working with her, to get rid of that person now, when we see across the aisle, there's a group of 4 that is going to be working together. So even if this move worked tonight, it's very possible that, had Davie been on board with what Nick and Angelina and Mike wants to do, that Gabby and Kara and Alison could be the next 3 to get picked off if Gabby's move tonight worked. So it didn't work out, and she got unlucky with the hidden immunity idol. But I feel like even if it did work, I don't like this move.
But here's my other problem is that let's say Gabby waits until the final 5, her last possible opportunity to vote out Christian. Okay, A, there's a chance that Christian wins that immunity, right? Totally decent chance. B, let's say he doesn't win. Even if Gabby votes him out at the final 5, everyone's going to want Christian out at the final 5. That's not going to be Gabby's move. That's going to be whoever else is there. That's going to be Mike and Alison's move. That's going to be, Angelina's move. So Gabby needs this, and so at that point, Gabby's story is still going to be, she coasted to the end with Christian. She turned him in at the last minute, like Ken in Millennials versus Gen X. Nobody thought like Ken voting out David was some like epic big move of Ken's taking control of the game. And I think one thing we've seen from Gabby all season long, and certainly in the last couple of episodes, is this really very smart, self-aware sense of how other people perceive her. And I think she knows that other people don't perceive her as the driving strategic force. She can't just show up for one vote and be like, guess what, guys, I'm the mastermind of the season. She's got to build a little bit of a story, not to be confused with the resume, before that last final 5 vote.
But I felt like the story that she could have had coming in, where we talked about a lot coming into this episode, where I felt like that Gabby and Alison and Cara, if they got to the end, I felt like that Gabby is the likely winner out of those three. And I felt like that it doesn't matter to me what round Christian went out in. If she got to the end with those group of three women, I think that she would be seen as the most strategic of those three. And I think that she would probably be the likely winner. I just don't know why we have to be so hung up on that. The thing that she needs to have on her mantle is Christian's head on a pike. That's the only way she can win the game, is if she gets out Christian and gets him out now.
I don't think it necessarily has to be like that one specific kill, but I do think it has to be, people have to perceive her as being a driving strategic force. And if she's there next to Alison, Alison's has a pretty good resume. Alison, she's dodged some votes.
So she better vote out Alison the next vote.
Well, but that's the nice thing. You get rid of Christian, Alison is a big target, and she can vote out Alison the next vote.
How could you have to vote out every single person you're working with? Because then
that's the way it works. You vote out everyone,
then you get voted out.
People.
Then you have no numbers. You can't vote out all of your allies.
Well, but the nice thing about Gabby's position is that nobody does think of her as this giant target. Now, granted, her eliminating Christian now would up her threat level, but is she going to be as big a target? I mean, everyone calls Alison a Wonder Woman, right? Everyone,
does everybody, or did Mike White say that once?
I feel like he speaks for us all.
Yeah, he is a writer. He is able to really
as a writer. Tell me about human relationships.
No, speaking of Mike, so this is actually very interesting. And unless everybody stayed and watched the credits, so there were 2 votes tonight that ultimately sent Gabby out. And at first glance, I figured, okay, this must have been Nick and Angelina. But Nick was one of the votes for Christian. This was actually Angelina and Mike White. And so this is actually a really interesting development, that Angelina and Mike actually cast the deciding votes in this round of play. And now I think that they are in the best strategic position that they've been in through this entire merge. And these are people that, Angelina specifically, that we felt like, okay, well, this is a person that probably doesn't have much of a chance, could be a finals GOAT if she gets to the end. But this was, I thought, a really big move for her, and especially for Mike, somebody else who we haven't really given a ton of serious winner consideration to.
Yeah, it was really smart. They, I guess, I'm not sure if they were supposed to vote for Christian or if they were supposed to be a backup plan voting for Alison, but for them to switch their 2 votes gives the Goliaths a majority again. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The Goliath, wouldn't that be the greatest end to this season if the final 3 are all Goliaths?
It could be, that it really depends on, if we see, Alison and Cara look like that they're a pair or a voting block now at this point, just because that they are the, 2 people left, that were working with Gabby on that vote. And then if Angelina and Mike are sort of together, Nick and Davie still, and Christian is sort of like the person who's isolated.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be so funny if the whole story of this season is this epic David's coming from behind and finally taking down Goliaths by teamwork and through epic use of advantages, and then they just blow it all in 2 episodes.
I mean, you certainly could see that, because I mean, it's if the 3 women and Mike vote together, then they happen to be, that's who's left from Goliaths against the 3 other men who are the Davids. Yeah, that is definitely the way that we could get down to 4.
I mean, that's the position of the game right now. There has certainly been some animosity that we've seen between Angelina and Alison, right? Alison sort of had that quote last episode about, I'm not buying much of what Angelina is selling anymore. But Mike has, certainly rolled his eyes at Angelina. So there does seem to be some animosity, but as Mike himself had that great quote, we all hate each other, but we have to work together to win the game. So look, I think we're all America's rooting for Christian, right? America's rooting for Christian.
Don't say that. I heard a lot of pushback that you were saying that last week, that he's universally beloved. And then I saw a lot of messages that Steven does not speak for me.
Right. Well, obviously, not literally everybody loves Christian, but I definitely think there's more fan support for Christian than any player we've seen in a long time. I mean, of course, yes, there are probably a couple of people out there who do not have all the same opinion. So if you are one of them, I'm really, really apologize for suggesting that I spoke for all of humanity.
Yes. Okay. Stephen, I want to talk about Christian, who is popular but not universally beloved. And I want to talk about when that Jeff said, "Okay, does anybody want to play the hidden immunity idol?" He says, "Hold on a second," and he looked around and which way is the wind blowing? Okay, let me look around. Let me look at everybody and let me read the faces. Did Christian get actionable information? Did somebody have a tell, or was this theater?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I mean, I think that at the point that you're, putting the finger in the wind and looking around, you're probably pretty likely to play the idol, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, at the point where you're sort of announcing yourself like, hey, everyone, eyes on me, that it's what you'd really have to not play the idol at that point. You'd have to really get some pretty epic information. What did you think it was theater, Rob?
I think it was. That it'll be a great question to ask Christian. What was it that you saw that made you say you were going to play the idol? Because we saw Davie tip him off about that. Hey, people want you out in the episode, and I think that he felt like, okay, I'd rather play this and be wrong than go home with it in my pocket potentially. And I think that he was living up to the moment here more so. Maybe I think he was gonna play it and maybe thought maybe if he was looking for something to not play it, but I think it was mostly theater.
Oh, so this was a hold up bro moment.
Was that theater?
I mean, that was all theater. I mean, it's possible that just he stared long enough into Gabby's soul that he read some rank betrayal.
Well, I took a good look at this. I rewound it back, and he looks the opposite direction. He looks away from Gabby first, and then he turns back and he looks at her, and he looks the other way again, and then he says he's going to play it. So I suspect if he saw something, it was not from Gabby.
Interesting. What's the correct move if you are Gabby and someone says, "Hold up, I need to consider." Like, what do you do with your face at that point in time? How do you arrange your face?
Well, just to add to that, I think he was pretty convinced that Gabby and the other women were voting against him. I think he was probably looking to like the Nicks and Angelinas and Mikes, who I think that he was being sold that they were voting with him for Alison. I think that's probably more along the lines of what he was looking at as opposed to Gabby.
Yeah. Interesting.
But I think you're looking for like shock face of like a sense of panic in the eyes of the people that are there instead of.
No, I'm saying, what do you do if you're trying to convince the other one? If you're in the other position,
do you want them to play the idol? Or you don't want them to play the idol.
You don't want them to play the idol.
I think it's like the poker table. I think you want to be sort of like not give anything away.
But if you have like a really stoic face, like that itself looks really weird. Should you be looking like looking around in surprise too? I don't know.
I think it depends on what you want to happen. Do you want somebody? Do you want to flush an idol? Do you not want somebody to play the idol?
No, you don't want him to play the idol.
Okay, so I think you should probably be like looking like what are you doing? What are you? He looks like what are you, dumb? Like, what is wrong with you? I think that's sort of like what you would like to sort of put out there.
Or you'd be like, yes, play it.
Because you want reverse psychology. Is that what you're going for?
Yeah. And they're like, they want me to play it so much. It's like the Amanda bet. Remember Amanda in Heroes versus Villains? She's like, play it. I mean, you got to play your idol, Parvati. You got to play your idol. Mm-hmm. And so Parvati knew she didn't have to play her idol.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of different steps along the way to get to this point. Davie talked about tonight where he was on the reward with Nick and with Mike and with Angelina. They talked about how they were and this, I feel like we missed something here. Mike voted out Carl. Did he, after tribal council, come to that group and say like, hey, mea culpa, my bad. I just, I couldn't take Carl, but I'm with you guys. I had to vote Carl out. And so it seemed like that was quickly formed a 4, but that Mike was, a swing vote last week.
Yeah, but there's a lot of history there too, right? Like with their previous tribe.
Mm-hmm. Sure. But
Yeah.
Nick did not seem upset at all with, I know he played the advantages to save Christian, but I mean, that Mike was one of the votes against Carl as well.
But I think the people, you're most upset about are the people who are your close allies who betray you. And I think that's always the problem with flipping back and forth, right? You're much more angry when your allies betray you than when someone who is a declared adversary. And, Mike has been Goliath strong for quite a few votes in since the merge. So I think, there's no way Nick can be mad at Mike for just being in an opposing alliance.
I just felt like that this final four came together, really quick without any sort of a notice to us.
Again, I really don't think I look at the alliances this season and then they form and they dissolve, they spring up for a moment and then they're gone. So I didn't really see this as some profound prophecy of what's to come for the season.
Now, Davie didn't like this, and so when Gabby comes with the plan of, hey, we have to vote out Christian, she tells Nick and Davie about this. So Davie ends up feeling not great about it. He goes and tells Christian. Did you like what Davie did here?
Yeah, I thought it was a great call from Davie, right? Davie's right. That's what I loved about this episode is that everyone made the right move for them. I thought from almost everyone's perspective, they all made really smart strategic decisions. And I think Davie among them. I think Davie is 100% correct that once Christian is gone, he's next. He's going to be at the top of the list. So, keep Christian around another vote, take out Gabby, who, he doesn't trust, who just voted against him at the last tribal council. And then play from there.
Yeah, I did like that for Davie, where keeping Christian in the game, I think, is better for Davie because now that Carl is gone, I feel like that the three David guys of Davie, Christian, and Nick is is a better three for Davie than Davie being a four with the people that were at the tribe that voted out Lyrsa and Natalie with Angelina, Mike, and Nick.
Yeah. I don't see a cohesive bunch in this group anymore. It really seems very, very fluid. Would you agree with that? Or do you think that there is some sort of core?
Yeah, it's fluid, but I do feel like that there are, there are these two, groups,
trust clusters,
for lack of a better word. Which I think that, are sort of it's, unlikely to see, I'd be surprised if Davie wants to vote against Nick next week.
Right. There's a few people who it does seem like they're going to be pretty tight. But what's fun now is, who knows how it's going to play out. I mean, really, I have no idea who's going to be the next person out. I could see a case for Nick, for Davie, for Christian, for Angelina, for Alison, for Mike. Probably not Mike. There's no reason to vote out Mike.
There is no reason to vote out Mike. Yeah. I mean, Mike could, be the guy that gets taken to the finals in the Final Four.
Yeah, I think that's probably the move that any reasonable person would do, right? Leave him in, bring him along. No one's going to vote for him because he's played a very solid game, but he's very rich too. So he doesn't need the money.
That's right. So Stephen, we saw then Davie goes to Christian. I thought that Christian had an interesting move upon learning from Davie that, hey, the votes are going on you tonight. Gabby is voting you out tonight. So he asks, is Nick also going to vote against me? And Davie says, I think so. I think he would do that. So Christian goes back to Nick, and Christian tries to make things right with Nick. We saw Nick and Christian talking in the beginning of the episode, the alliance formerly known as Mason-Dixon. I liked what Nick said after the trial council. Rather than yelling at Christian, he's like, help me understand, why did Carl have to go home? And then I thought that was an interesting conversation that wasn't coming across as super emotional, and I really did like that. But then Christian felt like, okay, I can patch this up with Nick. I can make this right. And I thought that was a unique Survivor approach. Did you like what Christian was thinking there?
I mean, isn't that a common, thing where you go against your ally, they're furious at you, you misjudged it, and they try to make things right with them, but there's just no way. I mean, that's the thing about these votes is that trust is very, very fragile in any human relationship, and especially so on Survivor. And one betrayal vote like that, it can really end a relationship. I mean, we saw. Didn't we see it in Heroes, Healers, Hustlers with between Ryan and Devin? Kind of they kind of had a similar falling out where they just
don't quiz me on that tonight. We're on David versus Goliath right now. But in terms of Christian, when he finds out from Davie that Nick is going to go along with the plan, he doesn't confront Nick about that. Hey, you're going to vote for me. He goes back and pretends like he doesn't have that information and tries to go back to the original conversation they were having about that he voted against Carl and he wasn't considerate of Nick's feelings, with the hope that he would change Nick's mind about wanting to be willing to get rid of Christian at that tribal council. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, he's really emotionally intelligent, very, very astute. I mean, it doesn't work. Nick still wants him gone. Nick still feels betrayed. I mean, is there anything? That's my question. Like, is there anything you can do if you're Christian here? You voted against your ally. He's really mad. He feels deeply betrayed. I'm not sure there's actually any way to like truly reestablish that trust.
Yeah. Now, did Christian potentially beat around the bush too much? That should he say, look, I know that the votes are coming for me. I'm playing my idol tonight. I'm gonna play my idol, and I don't want to. I don't want to. Let's figure this out. So I'm coming to you, open kimono. Let's hash this out. Now, again, I don't know what level of trust you would be able to have where if Nick swears up and down, no, it won't be you tonight. You might still have to play the idol at that point, but how open can you be?
I actually think that might not be, because obviously it's so personality based and so based on this longstanding relationship that we've only seen a fraction of. But I kind of think coming at it from a tactical perspective might be more effective than coming at it from a sense of like, let's try to heal our relationship, because, especially with so little time left, I don't know if the relationship is going to be so easily healed. But if you do go and say, hey, let's talk strategy here. I understand if you're angry at me, but like, let's still play this game together. You can still, trust me to be myself, essentially. I wonder if I kind of like that approach a little bit more. I mean, again, we're splitting hairs here, but I think I sort of agree with you, Rob, that coming at it from let's, plot this game forward. Yeah. Here's my cards. Like, let's talk about your cards. That might be a more effective way.
Attached with a Nick, give me a name. Who do you want out? Who's your number? Who's your target? Let's work. Let's help me help you. What do you need?
Yeah, totally. Like I think that is the move. Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's the move, is to say like, I am in your service. Like, I get that I've violated our trust, but now I want to be your right-hand person.
Right. And now the thing you have to navigate is, I'm sure Davie said, hey, don't say anything to Nick. I came to you with this information. Do not say anything to Nick. Do not tell Nick that you heard this from me. And so then you have to figure out, well, how do you have that conversation with Nick and then not reveal your source, where then Nick is going to go to Davie and say, like, hey, man, what are you doing? Why you tell Christian we're going to vote him out tonight? That's the difficult thing to unpack with all that. Steven, are you feeling good about any player in particular that you are feeling like? Do you have somebody that you're feeling good about, a winner right now?
I mean, I honestly think Christian might take it.
Christian, you're feeling good for Christian.
Yeah, I know that sounds crazy. And like, if you think about the logic of it, it's like, how would these idiots let this guy get to the end after all of this? How could they be so dumb?
I don't see a path for him. I really don't. As fun as it would be to watch play out, I don't see the path.
Yeah. I mean, he could immunity win. He really only needs like one or two. I mean, if they just make one mistake, two mistakes, and he just needs to win one or two immunities, who's going to win the fire maker? Who's the big fire maker here?
Well, I don't know. That it's. I mean, we're so far away from that in terms of, it depends on who's going to be in the game, and I don't want to we'd just be guessing who's going to be good at making the fire, but. I feel good about Davie again tonight. I felt I was I was kind of out on Davie. So I feel good about Davie. I'm starting to is it possible Angelina could have a shot at this thing?
No.
I
don't think so. I think that the jury's, I mean, why not? Sure. Yeah. Let's say yes. I rescind my abrupt no.
Mm-hmm.
I think the derision, I I've had this a general sense that the people sort of roll their eyes at her, but maybe that's just Mike. Maybe it's just Mike White who's a little bit derisive of her. I mean, what do you think others perceive her as?
Well, I think that others definitely perceive her as being headstrong. And, I've heard Nick in A Secret Scene call her selfish and very self-motivated. But she, did make the Rice negotiation, which did appear to be received well from the group. I love that she told her mom about the Rice negotiation in the loved ones visit. It was like, number one thing to bring up. But she is with Mike, the architect of this move tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if she gets to the end, she's got a pretty stunning story to tell, just in terms of how, how many times has she been the decoy vote or the default vote or almost eliminated? And, and she's really squeaked by. She's been an architect of some key moves. She got the Rice. I don't think the Rice is going to really.
Well, she'll talk about it. But I mean, this is all dependent on, a major rally here at this point, from being somebody who was, decoy vote. And now all of a sudden might have, a little bit of juice here coming into the final seven.
I mean, it really is, it's so important in Survivor is when you turn it on, right? Yeah. Like at what point in the game you kind of step up. And we've certainly seen a lot of winners just sort of, kind of idle until the end game. And then they just like rev up and sort of power through to the end. Michelle Fitzgerald being a great example, but there've been, obviously Jenna Maraska as well, right? There've been a couple of winners who really just turned on the juice at the end. And, that's when you want to turn it on. So you could see a case for almost anyone out there at this point.
How about Nick? Are you feeling better or worse, up or down on Nick after tonight?
I love Nick. Nick is one of my all-time favorites. And I feel so bad for Nick because on any other season, if there's no Christian, Nick is like the standout. Oh my God, Nick's this big strategist. He's playing the game. He's he's doing all the sides. He's this charming Kentucky lawyer. Kentucky, right? Yeah. And I think with this season with Christian, like Christian just like takes all the air out of the fan enthusiasm.
Okay. All right, Steven, we're going to get to some questions here. Hashtag RHAP. Let me take a moment and thank one of our sponsors, our friends over at CanvasPeople.com, because at Canvas People, you can create gorgeous works of art from any phone that you have on a camera or a digital phone. And let me show you a beautiful work of art that I received at my P.O. box this week to commemorate this wonderful season of Survivor Know-It-Alls.
Stunning.
So I don't know who sent this to me, but this is a Canvas People that was sent to me anonymously. And you can see that you can make literally any photo a beautiful work of art. This was sent to, I don't know which one of our listeners sent this to us, Steven.
Is this act one of like CSI or something? Is this like the mysterious canvas?
I will hang up this photo here in the office, but this photo was sent to us, and I can only assume that this listener took advantage of this wonderful offer from Canvas People and got this photo printed for free, usually a $69.99 value, using our promo code by texting the word RHAP to 797979. You just pay the shipping and handling. This offer won't last. There are so many great photos that you can create with Canvas People. It makes a great gift for this time of year. Nicole and I have done a bunch of these, and you can see just the wonderful examples of
it's
things
amazing
you can
quality.
make.
I think it's actually and this is if you want to get Rob a gift, get him a picture from the Know-It-Alls and Canvas People and send it to his PO box. If you really want to, if you appreciate Rob Sesternino at all, that's what you would do.
Yeah. So go ahead and check it out. So right now is a special, very limited holiday offer. CanvasPeople.com is offering their popular 11 by 14 photo canvas for free. That's right, for free. Normally a $69.99 value, but for this week only, you'll pay nothing. You just cover the shipping and the handling. So to go get your free canvas, text RHAP to 797979. You just pay the shipping and the handling. This offer won't last. Text RHAP to 797979. That's RHAP to 797979. Message and data rates may apply. Okay. Steven, let's get to the questions here tonight. And why don't we start this off? What's our first question tonight, Steven?
All right, Glenna Flannery wants to know, why didn't Angelina ask her mom for her clothes?
Oh, yeah, that would have been.
Could I have your chat?
Natalie.
Yeah. She must not have been thinking clearly.
Yeah. Clearly, a missed opportunity. We actually used to see a lot more of clothes handoffs on Survivor, but less so in recent years.
Yeah. I think it was it Sandra that I was talking to recently that was saying that she was going to tell her loved ones to wear like as much clothes as possible to be able to hand them off. It's a good move.
My friend Ben in Cambodia was going to come with power bars taped to his body. I don't know if he would have made it past the security on that one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's take this question. This one is from Chrissy Hoffbot. Who's most likely to find the new idol next week? Okay, so there'll be some intrigue here. Of course, Davie and Nick are the ones that really know where these idols are hidden. I think that of the remaining...
Christian.
Christian. So really the three David men. But there is that prophecy of Angelina from the beginning of the season where I believe she was talking with Alison about women finding idols and the disparity. Was that Chekhov's a woman's idol?
Or it's the opposite, and a woman wins, right? A woman wins the season. I mean, that's what some people are predicting, is that was sort of saying, well, doesn't, who cares about idols if they're gonna win? The seven, I think all the advantages, I'm not sure if any have actually wound up in the hands of a woman this season.
Mm-hmm. I don't believe, not yet. Only idol in the game belongs to Nick. Well, what about this question from Megan?
Megan Heffield wants to know, if Gabby hadn't expressed her intention/desire to vote Christian out to the entire tribe, sans Christian, would she still be in the game right now? Or would random people still have put her name down? That's a great question.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. Did Gabby tell too many people about the plan, Steven?
Yeah, I was sort of surprised how open she was about it. Just told Nick out of the. I mean, I got it when she told Alison, when she told Kara, people who are going to have some sort of interest in voting out Christian. But when she told Nick and Davie, I also wondered if that was a few too many people.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't need to tell all those people. Just do it with the Goliaths.
Well, I'm trying to think of, so who would she have needed? So if she told Kara and Alison, they were on board. So that's two right there. You need to, the two and herself, so that's three. You need to get to at least five if you want it to be clean as opposed to the other side.
It's just the Goliaths and her. That's it.
So she would have brought in Angelina and Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike voted with them last week, so I think that he probably would have been on board. He would have been up for it. So, yeah, it seems like it. But then are you then making an enemy out of, like, how much? It's interesting. In the episode, we saw her tell the opposite two people that we're talking about in going to Davie and Nick.
Yes. Wait, say that again?
We saw her in the episode, Gabby, go to Davie and Nick with this
plan.
Not
that's what I'm saying.
Go to Angelina and Mike.
Right. Which I mean, we certainly saw everyone talking about it at one point or another. But yeah, we saw her go to, and maybe you're right. Like, I think you don't want to totally, after she's gone against Davie and Nick once, I think going against him again might really infuriate them.
I think too many people knew the information with too much time to act, where they were able to hijack her big move.
Yeah. Well, I still think it came from her, though. I mean, they hijacked it in terms of telling him, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, they were able to, hijack the move in terms of Davie was able to go with his plan, and then Angelina and Mike were able to, execute on their plan where, hey, why don't we put our votes on Gabby if he's going to play, if Christian's going to potentially play his idol. So I think that there was too much time for everybody else to react to what they wanted to do. And I think they could have come in at the last minute and told the couple of people that needed to know, hey, vote for Christian tonight. We're taking out Christian.
Do you think this is a Cagayan level season yet? I think maybe, I don't know. I
think it depends on how how the ending goes. But in terms of week after week, I mean, I think that the season, I don't know if there's a season that delivers on a high level, and then if the ending for whatever reason is unsatisfying. But in terms of delivering week after, I mean, this is the 12th episode tonight, and it's been
2 more.
I think this was one of the best hours of the season.
Oh, yeah. Do you think, is a Christian win satisfying or frustrating? Frustrating because they've missed all these chances to get rid of him.
I think it would be. I think that would be a very satisfying outcome of the season. They tried. I think that's what's frustrating is where, like last season, the viewers see, okay, Dominic and Wendell are going to go to the end. Why doesn't anybody take a shot at him? And I mean, this has been Christian week after week, the players saying Christian is going to win. Let's keep taking shots at him. And by, one way or another, he's been able to avoid going home. So I think that there's no disparity between how the people on the island are seeing things and how we're seeing things. So I don't think that's unsatisfying if he wins, unless you're one of the people that do not enjoy watching him. And in that case, that would be your viewpoint of the season, and you are entitled to that.
No, you literally, before we went on the air, said every human being on earth loves Christian, and anyone who doesn't is wrong.
That does sound like me. I will, that I will admit that does sound a lot like something I would say.
I agree. I think it would be a very satisfying end. I don't think I honestly I would be happy with any of these people winning. Like even I would be happy with any of them.
Yeah,
because it's been like so well fought. And what's been so exciting, someone pointed out to me, someone tweeted at me that I had awarded a different fishy every episode of the season. Now, obviously, this week I'm repeating, but until this point that I'd awarded, and I think that that speaks to this cast where so many people are playing so well, and at the same time, how well the story is being told from the producer's point of view, where we're seeing so many rich characters, we're seeing all these different people, all their different motivations. I think I would be happy with anyone.
Who did you give the fishy to tonight?
I gotta give it to Christian. Saved himself with the idle sniff. You could certainly make a case for Davie. I think it had just been longer since I'd given Christian one. And I thought the direct save was from Christian, right? He had the direct sniff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you feel like going into next week, he is the most likely person to go home next week, though?
The only reason not is because, again, just that thing I always say about after someone plays an idol, after a shot is missed, sometimes there's just this sense of like, well, we took a shot, he got away. Now who's the next one? It doesn't make sense. It's not rational, but it just is the case sometimes. I
really feel like that next week, and I reserve the right to change my opinion. I feel like that he's got to be the number one, certainly in the field to go out next week. That I think the immunity is going to be really huge for Christian, and he better get out to all those sectors the morning after this tribal council.
Yeah, I ultimately agree. I mean, everyone just voted for him. All of his allies, he goes back to camp after this, and literally everyone has, not literally, but basically everyone has been on the planet.
And I believe every single person in the game has now cast votes against him.
No,
I mean, which
really
is you're getting down to it. It's that's not a great omen. I mean, it worked for people like Ben Driebergen, but every single person at one point or another has said Christian is the threat. We have to get rid of him.
Yeah.
How about Davie, though? Told Christian to play his idol, but then also voted for him. Was that especially savvy?
I think so. I think that's like giving him the warning, but then sticking with his allies. Yeah. I thought that was great.
Because then he has plausible deniability to Nick also, because he didn't go back and tell Nick that he was going to tell him. So then he could act like, what? Oh my God, I can't believe it. How does this guy is so good?
Yeah. Davie's great. Davie's really, this whole cast, so many so many great characters.
Yeah. All right. A couple more questions.
Let's just run it again. See, next season, just like run this season again.
Back. Okay. All right. This question is from Shaylin. Why did Christian vote for Alison and not for Gabby? Was it jury management or was there something that we missed? Yeah, I think that's a good question. I saw people asking this on Twitter as well tonight. Why Alison, that we saw Christian, committed to. We have to vote out Alison. We saw him at the start of the second hour last week with Alison. He's hugging Alison. He voted with Alison last week. He talked about how that they had such a great relationship. Why was Christian so hot and heavy to get Alison out?
It seemed like he was going along. I mean, similar to what you said, it seemed like he was going along with sort of the general, what everybody else wanted, right? He even said to Nick, you want, let's get Alison out. Isn't that what you want? And Nick's like, yeah, that's what I've been wanting to do. So I think there may be just the sense of, this is a big target who other people are willing to vote for. And it's not me. Let's go for her. The question is, does he know it's him when he votes for Alison? Is it jury management with Gabby? That to me seems too cute. I think he didn't, I think he wasn't in on the plan.
Yeah, I think that maybe he was hoping that everybody else was going to be voting, because I don't think that he certainly didn't know that people were voting for Gabby at that tribal council. So I think he thought, I'm going to play my idol tonight, and then either all of the votes are going to be against me, or it's going to be 7-1, and my vote for Alison is going to be the deciding vote, or whoever else that he had talked to. Perhaps Nick and Davie were also going to be voting for Alison.
Yeah.
So I think he thought he played his idol, but then he was blindsided by the person who ultimately went home. And it was such a great moment where Gabby sees the votes, because she's like, "Oh, you are so smart. Where did you get that big brain?
That's great.
You are smart."
Exactly.
Alison.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Alison, I'm so sorry. Oh.
Yeah.
And then that second Gabby vote, or the first vote Gabby vote came up, and then all of a sudden, distressed. But it was great. I've never seen somebody go out of the game and apologizing to another person. Like, Christian, I'm so sorry, Christian. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Christian.
Yeah.
So really, everybody's been a really good sport. It's been really fun to, watch all these players. Everybody, good game. So it makes it fun to go through. All right. A couple more questions with Steven. What about Alan?
Alan wants to know, could Christian being on the wrong side of this vote ultimately be a good thing if he makes it to the end? He probably has Gabby's vote anyway, but it could help to have not broken their alliance. Well, I mean, I think that if he makes it there, she's definitely voting for him.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the jury also tonight when he played. The jury's like, "Oh, smart! What a smart! What brochacho?
Yeah.
Oh my God!"
If you look over at that and you're a contestant, you're like, "We have to." Yeah. That's got to make him an even bigger target to see the jury actively cheering him on.
Yeah. So I really feel like that everybody there would be insane not to get him out before they get to 7. And so, or they're only at 7. They still got a few rounds. They have to get him out. Steven, what about this question from Vinny? Where do you think Mike truly stands? Don't you think that Gabby, Karen, Alison made this move tonight with the idea of having Mike as their 4th at the final 7? Next week is going to be wild. Yeah, I think they thought that, Mike, who voted with them on the last vote, was going to be on board to do this. And I think that Mike has been good at hiding his true intentions this season.
Yeah, and the Final Four thing is interesting. I mean, we've talked about a little bit about this before, but how the fact of the Final Four fire challenge means that an alliance of 4 does not have to ever turn on each other, right? So there doesn't have to be that same sense of one of us is at the bottom of this 4. So the Final 7 really is like a huge inflection point in a way that the Final 5 won't be.
Yeah. And if you were going to then start to look at, okay, well, who can make fire here? Should we start getting them out? And now, again, we're sort of speculating on who can make the fire, but I feel like I think that does not necessarily bode well for Nick. I think Nick can make a fire. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I mean, it is. Do you think people now are hiding their fire making skill? But then if you got to like balance.
Yeah,
that
I saw in the
practicing.
chat, Alison made a fire very quickly. Somebody said.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. This is one from Devin. Has Christian had the most votes nullified by an idol in a season?
It's got to be up there. I mean, I think Wentworth had Wentworth I think had the most in an episode. Certainly, it's gonna be hard to beat that. It was like 9. But probably Christian has passed 9 by now, right?
Yeah.
Or 2.
We'll leave that to the fact checkers to be able to give us an answer on that. Here's one from Paige. Was it a bad move for Nick not to forgive Christian and sever the Mason-Dixon alliance?
I mean, from my point of view, Nick's in a better spot than Christian is now.
He is in a better spot than Christian, but I think that Christian is probably in the worst spot of anybody, where I think that he is going to be a target every step of the way. If he gets to the end, he'll definitely win.
Why do you think that is? What is the reason that Christian had, like, it almost seemed like they decided at the merge, guys, Christian's the big target. Like, before he even had done anything to be a big target.
Well, if we take a look at, who is going to be able to, win over the jury, I think everybody looked at this guy in this David versus Goliath season as being the ultimate David. He was the guy who everybody, they looked at him and sort of dismissed him. And from the very first moment that they got out there, he was somebody that overcome challenges and did so in spectacular fashion. He's been a articulate and wonderful person to be around this entire season. He outlasted Alec in the 6-hour immunity challenge. He was eloquent at all of these tribal councils, and he's been a part of this group that's been a comeback from the abyss to take down the Goliaths, and now he's had these advantages played for him, and now here he is somehow, even though he's been targeted 4 times, still in the game.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it makes sense. I mean, he's like become the threat they predicted him to be. They almost made him into this threat. He enters the merge not having done particularly much. He only went to 1 or 2 tribal councils on the David tribe and never had to go.
I think he went to 1.
After
he went
one
to 1 before
council,
the merge,
right? When they got rid of Jessica, and now he's become this threat simply because they've targeted him so much.
Mm-hmm. Let's take a question from
a Greek tragedy.
Jimmy. The real question I want to have answered is if Christian knew it was going to be Gabby or if Davie withheld that information. Well, I don't think that Davie knew it was going to be Gabby. Supreme
it seemed like
by Davie if he was the only one who truly knew who was going home. Well, he didn't vote for Gabby and neither did Nick. So I don't know if that was something that was talked about where if Davie and Nick split votes potentially, where it's like, okay, we'll put our votes on Christian, but you guys vote. So that'll be something that we'll have to be able to parse from our secret scenes and things people post on social media and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, it's who knows? It really could be, but it also could not be.
Okay.
All right. Emily Waring wants to know, why would Davie tell Christian the plan to vote Christian out and then proceed to vote for him?
Yeah. I mean, we kind of discussed this was because you could just go back in the episode. Robert wants to know, with Christian having nobody vote with him in this episode, are his chances of winning officially over? No, I would not. No. I would not count him out, but he definitely. I think he has the hardest path to get to the finals.
Yeah, definitely. I think if Christian makes it to the finals, there's no question that he's going to win. The question is just, can he possibly get there?
Yeah, and then this will be the last question, but I do want to address this because I think this is the coldest take out there. This is from Brandon. Gabby was jealous. Ha ha. Don't you honestly think it had nothing to do with Christian comforting her, but because of his girlfriend? Also, would Christian have been able to figure out to use his idol without the help of Davie? So I was on the fence of whether I wanted to talk about this, but let me, since it's here, let me get into this. Steven, this is the coldest take there is, that Gabby saw Christian's girlfriend and was jealous about Christian's relationship, and that's why she voted against Christian in this round.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we see almost every season at the loved ones visit, is that people, they see their own loved ones, they see each other's loved ones, and suddenly this illusion of like it's just the 12 of us trapped on this island together is broken. Mm-hmm. And suddenly you take a step back and you're like, this alliance that I thought was vital to my life, this is just an alliance on a game show, and I've got a real life to go back to, and he has a real life to go back to. This is not some like unique thing that happened to Gabby out of crazy jealousy. This is something that is a very frequent and probably really smart, moment of self-awareness.
Right. And something that survivors of, all throughout the different seasons say like, oh, I thought these are my best friends. And like, oh, wait, I actually have a family. Oh my God, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
These people are not. And so it's a good wake up call. But the idea that, Gabby had a, romantic attraction to Christian and then saw him with his girlfriend and said, okay, that's it. I have to get rid of her. Let's retire that take. I've seen it a lot on Twitter. I've seen it already on the Survivor Facebook page. And I don't think that it is a valid take, and let's just outright reject that.
I reject it.
Reject it. Okay.
I cast you out.
All right.
Take.
Let's talk about what's coming up here, Steven. And of course, my exit interview with Gabby will be tomorrow morning. Be on the lookout for that, as we'll find out exactly what her motivations were. Of course, your friend and mine, Tyson Apostle, will be joining me. Going to record that relatively early in the day on Thursday. So you can email your questions, survivor@robhasawebsite.com. I'll also post a thread on Twitter if you want to get questions in for Tyson, the Coconut Bandit, on Thursday. And then Mary Holland, improviser extraordinaire, will be joining the RHAP B&B to talk and sing about everything going on in this round of Survivor with Mike and Liana. Be on the lookout for that with Mary Holland. And then why Blank lost. That's Gabby. Find out why Gabby lost as David Bloomberg is going to break it down once again this week with co-host is that I'm not sure if Jessica is back this week or if it's still with Shannon Gates again, but tune in to find out. And then Bryce Isaiah, the Purple Pants Badass, will join me on Friday, everybody. Don't wait to get those voicemails in. Also, don't a million people call in and ask who's the freakiest freak. I'm sure that we'll be able to get there. We don't need 12 voicemails asking for that. But robhasawebsite.com/voicemail or 323-282-RHAP. And then check this out. Brian Malloy, who is our designer here in our t-shirt store, RHAPstore.com, put together a one day only to celebrate the 2,500 Rob as a Podcast episodes. You can get this. This is going to be available for all but 24 hours, and then we're taking it down. This is this is the deadline. If you want to get any RHAP stuff, of course, the posters, mugs, shirts, it's all there available at rhapstore.com. And this is the last day to get shipping that we will guarantee before December 24th. So go ahead and check that out. And of course, to our wonderful patrons, we say thank you again. robhasawebsite.com/patron, helping to make all of this podcasting possible. Steven, it was 5 years ago tomorrow that I was fired from the last job I ever had before I became a full-time podcaster, and that is all because of the Rob Has a Podcast patrons. So I really owe them everything for allowing them to allow me to be fully focused on everything going on here in this wonderful Survivor season.
What were you fired for?
My department got laid off.
Sure. Yeah. I think we all can guess what Rob was fired for.
What was I fired for?
I don't know. I was just hoping to let people guess. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Rob, I haven't yet congratulated you for 2,500 episodes. That's amazing. I mean, I've congratulated you, off air.
Yes,
I haven't congratulated you on air for 2,500 episodes.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been almost 9 years in the making, 2,500 podcasts. We celebrated earlier this week. I was interviewed by the First Lady of Podcasting.
That's crazy. I mean, what are you going to do next? You should go for 2,600.
I'll keep going. Once
you do 2,500, go ahead.
Look, hopefully they keep making it. Look, that this David versus Goliath. Hopefully Survivor has plenty of gas in the tank.
Yeah. Well,
how about you? How many more podcasts do you have in you?
I don't know. Definitely not 2,500. I mean, I don't think I'm going to make it there.
Okay. All right. Of course, follow Stephen Fishback on Twitter. He is at Stephen Fishback. You can check out his People blog. Again, let's admire this beautiful work of art that was sent to me this week to the P.O. box. Yeah. Do you think there's a message here, Stephen?
That's what I'm scared to find out.
That is. I was sort of like looking at it like my first thought was like, was a mistake made? Was this what this person intentionally wanted, or is this like they didn't resize the photo right? Because even if it was resized, not the most flattering image of either of us.
Well, someone should take a picture. There's one of us on Twitter looking at this Canvas People. Yeah. That's got to be the next Canvas People, the Canvas People of the Canvas People.
Yeah. So I don't know. So thank you to whoever sent this to me anonymously. Thank you for that. All right, Stephen Fishback, great work. We got one more Wednesday night together, me and you, and then you'll be off on your honeymoon on finale night. But I will be here live here to talk about it all, and we've got a great show coming up for finale night as well. All right, Stephen Fishback, great work. Thanks so much to Scott St. Pierre behind the scenes. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.